time, now we're building from the dirt. 32 teams grinding, putting in the work. No blue blood handouts, no crown from the start. You gotta earn every yard, every win, every part.
What's going on, everybody? This is your commish, Mr. GB, here to give you another video for the league, kind of go over the rules and our regional breakdowns and our league map and a couple other things. So with that, I'll get into it. Let's go over our head-to-head rules as well as the CPU game rules. So starting out, we are advancing every Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I get up early in the morning, usually about 4 a.m. or so, to knock that out for you guys. So Monday, Wednesday, Friday, you don't have to ask when it's happening. That's when it's going to happen. You'll have until 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time of the second day of the advance to respond to any request to play from your opponent. If you do not respond, your opponent can either take the force win, or they can play your team as a CPU, meaning I would put you on autopilot for that advance and they can play you, get whatever stats they want to get. If both opponents are communicating back and forth and responding and they just can't agree on a time, just doesn't work out. That happens sometimes. It's just a fair sim. That's just the easiest way to do it, make everybody happy. If a head-to-head opponent is not available at all during an advance, they're on vacation out of town, or just otherwise indisposed, that is a forced loss for that person. If you're not available to play, there's no reason another person should lose, in my opinion. If you have not completed your CPU games prior to completion of all the head-to-head games, it'll be simulated if it is delaying the next advance. So basically that means if all the head-to-head guys have already played, we're just waiting on a couple CPU games to play, we're probably going to skip you, just because if you should have time to get those in. If we have time to play against each other, you should have time to knock out a computer game. With that, if you quit a game versus any opponent, please do so after halftime. Obviously, occasionally you might get blown out, get frustrated. I get it. Nobody wants to sit through 4 quarters of that. If you just can't take the loss and you want to quit, please do so after halftime, just so your opponent can keep some stats. Also, if you're just going to quit every game, that's not going to work either, though. So just keep that in mind. If there's multiple offenses of quitting, you will probably be booted from the league, just because that's not fun to play against. Another way to get booted from the league: no replays on CPU games. I know sometimes things can happen with the actual game itself. It could freeze, your console could turn off, power could go out, whatever. Just please have proof if something like that happens. Something happens once, we can usually let that slide, but if it happens over and over, that's not going to work, and you probably will be booted from the league as well. And probably most important rule we got: be respectful to your opponents. Friendly trash talk is encouraged. We do a lot of it, but being an asshole to somebody is not. Toxic players will be booted, no exceptions. So keep that in mind when you are playing other people. With that, we'll get into the job offer progression system. Obviously, we're all starting off with the worst teams in the game. Some people may not want to stick with their team, although that is the goal of the dynasty. That's not always realistic, depending on how bad of a team you got. So there is opportunities to move around. So after year 1, you can accept any 2-star or lower job offer. That gradually moves up. So after year 2, you can take a 3-star below job offer. After year 3, you can accept any 4-star or below job offer. And after year 4, usually you can either build up the team by that point, or at that point, it would be fair to everybody else. You can take any other job offered to you at that point. Note the coaching carousel is different on this year's game too. You can apply to open jobs. You don't mean you'll necessarily get it, but you may not be on their initial offer list. But if you see somebody open, you are interested in that team, you can always go for it. Just keep in mind, I have heard that does affect your coach's ability rating. So if that is going to hurt you in recruiting, that may be something to think about. But again, going to have opportunities to move around. You don't have to be stuck with a bad team if you don't want to be. Um, it's just a gradual progression thing. Just because we don't want people playing somebody having Alabama and somebody having like UAB. So it's to keep things fair and again competitive balance of the league, fair and competitive. So um, with that, we'll talk about our 10 regional zones. This is a promotion relegation style format league. So everybody starts off in the lower G5 level, your American MAC, Conference USA, Mountain West, Sun Belt. You win that conference, you move up to your affiliated Power 5 conference, but that is also regionally based. So um, the 10 regions are the ACC Appalachia, ACC Metro, Big 10 Great Lakes, Big 10 Heartland, Big 12 Great Plains, Big 12 Lone Star, Pac-12 Frontier, Pac-12 Southwest, SEC Coastal, and SEC Dixieland. I'll go over the state breakdowns here shortly, but you can obviously see it on that map there. The Power 5 affiliations to the G5 affiliations are the ACC to American, Big 10 to MAC, Big 12 to Conference USA, Pac-12 to Mountain West, and SEC to Sun Belt. So to break this down a little bit, let's say I start off in the Sun Belt and I am a team in South Carolina. If I win the Sun Belt, I would move up to the SEC, but I would have to move up, replacing whatever team is in the SEC Coastal because the SEC Coastal covers South Carolina. So it's not necessarily you're replacing the worst team in the SEC total, you're replacing the worst SEC team in your state division. So with that, we'll talk about the map itself, a little bit bigger picture. So as you see here, ACC Appalachia is North Carolina, Virginia, West Virginia. ACC Metro, basically everybody northeast of that. I won't go through all those states there. That's probably the biggest one. The Big 10 Great Lakes is going to be the darker purple one there. That's Iowa, Illinois, Michigan, Minnesota, North Dakota, South Dakota, Wisconsin. The Big 10 Heartland is going to be Indiana, Kentucky, and Ohio. Big 12 Great Plains, that's the darker red one. That's Arkansas, Kansas, Louisiana, Missouri, and Oklahoma. The Big 12 Lone Star Division, obviously Lone Star State, Texas. It is only Texas. There are a lot of schools in Texas, so that's the region they have their own division. Then we got the Big 12 Frontier Division. That is the more orange color. That's going to be Colorado, Idaho, Montana, Nebraska, Oregon, Utah, Washington, Wyoming. I know Nebraska looks a little awkward there in the middle. That's for competitive balance purposes. They needed to get another good team in that grouping, so that's why they're there. Then we have the Pac-12 Southwest Division. That's going to be Arizona, California, Hawaii, Nevada, and New Mexico. SEC Coastal, as I mentioned before, that's Florida, Georgia, and South Carolina. And then the SEC Dixieland, that's going to be Alabama, Mississippi, and Tennessee. So once we break all that down, this will be the teams you will see affiliated with each of those groupings. So all those teams in green are in your ACC American Conference grouping. The purple teams are Big 10 and MAC groupings. The red colored teams are Big 12 Conference USA. The gold ones, slash orange, I guess you'd say, that is your Pac-12 and Mountain West. And then the blue colored ones are your SEC and Sun Belt. So how that, once we get all the overalls, once the actual game releases, the top 10, let's say we're using the ACC, for example, the top 10 teams that are affiliated with the Metro Northeast Division, they'll go to the ACC Metro. The top 10 teams in the Appalachia, they will go to the Appalachia Division. And then your remaining 7 teams, because there's 27 total teams if you look there, the remaining 7 teams will go to the American Conference. And they will start as the first American group. That same concept applies across the board to the other groups. All the worst teams essentially go to the G5, G5 level. So Obviously, the game hasn't released yet, so I don't have the overall numbers, but I did come up with a CBS overall rankings chart just so I could kind of experiment, kind of give you an idea of what we'd be looking at. Again, this is just an example. This is not the actual game. This is not what our league is going to be on the settings. Very likely it is something similar to this, but this is, again, just an example. This is not necessarily the teams it's going to be. Uh, could be, most likely not exactly how it is. So again, we'll use the ACC as an example here. So your Appalachia division is going to be Virginia Tech, Virginia, Duke, North Carolina State, Wake Forest, West Virginia, James Madison, ECU, North Carolina, and Old Dominion. ACC Metro, Penn State, Pittsburgh, Maryland, Navy, Rutgers, Syracuse, Army, Boston College, Temple, and UConn. And then your worst 7 teams of those total groups would be Marshall, Liberty, App State, Delaware, Buffalo, Charlotte, and UMass. So again, that logic applies across the board to the other groups. Let's say we do the draft. I pick Charlotte as my team. I win the American. As you see, it's all color coded. So um, I win the American as Charlotte. I would replace whatever the worst team is at the end of the season for the Appalachia division. So uh, let's say ECU is the worst team. In year 2, I would swap them around. Charlotte would move up to ECU spot. ECU would be in the American. That applies across the board, and that's how we decide who moves up, who moves down. Every year, there is at least 5 champions moving up and 5 teams going down. Again, that happens regardless whether or not you change teams. I could win the American as Charlotte, get a better job offer, and go to somebody else. But Charlotte still moves up as a team. I'm just coaching a different team after that. So the movement happens whether you stick with the team or not. So just keep that in mind. And if you're taking a job of somebody that is dropping, that just means you're going to have to basically start all over again. So you want to pay attention to who's dropping as well. So we'll move on to, we're going to have a power ranking system as well. I'm still working out the details of how exactly we're going to do this year. Um, we're going to start out with the 38 bottom tier teams. There's 32 of us playing, but there's 38 total teams in the G5 group. So the power rankings will feature some computer ranked teams as well. But my thought on this right now, as far as how we're going to determine power rankings based on an order of importance, would be your wins, your number of losses, your winning streak, point differential, your strength of schedule, which would be your combined opponents' win-loss record, and the final tiebreaker, if there is a such thing. If everybody, let's say 2 teams had the same exact numbers through that, the overall rating of your team would be the tiebreaker. So we may tweak that a little bit and come up with another couple more factors to make this more interesting. But this is hard to keep track of every advance, so got to make it easy. So we'll come up with something, and we'll go from there. But we'll get you guys' input there on that. Um, with that, we'll talk about the draft. Obviously, there's a draft video on the YouTube channel as well. You guys can go watch that. That was the fairest way to do it. Wheel spin. I didn't have any influence on that. That's how the cookie crumbled on that one. So you pick what you pick. We're all bad teams. So I'm sure not. Some people are not going to be picking based off of overall team rating as their pick. They're probably going to pick somebody who looks cool, or they may pick somebody with the highest NIL budget. There's a lot of things to consider now on this new game. So you still might have a chance of getting a team you wanted to begin with, depending on how the draft itself goes. And then once the game comes out, the day of the game, I promise I will be locked in and I'll be getting all this prepared. I will let everybody know the team's available. their overall ratings, their offense, defense rating, as well as whatever their NIL budget is. I may add some other factors to this as well, but you guys will have full information. I know some people did not pre-order the game, so I'll get as much information as I can to you before the regular release of the game, so you know what you're walking into, what teams you might want to target, etc. So, with that, um, I've completely worked out season one schedule already. Just got all I have to do is find out what teams are going to be available, and that's already going to be done. I do a lot of work in the background you guys aren't even aware of to try to keep this league fun and competitive and keep you guys interested. So, with that, I hope this video helps answer some questions if you got any. Um, but if you do have any additional ones, let me know. And excited to get this thing going. And I will see you guys later.